I'm Janice Edwards, and this is Bay Area Vista, your community show. We're on location at Gunderson High School in San Jose. Here, the students do their own broadcast, and they say that their culture embodies the spirit of community. Stay with us. Next on Bay Area Vista from Gunderson High School. Welcome to Bay Area Vista. I'm Janice Edwards, and today we are going back to school with Silicon Valley future stars. So because we're at school, I'm sitting behind a desk, but this desk is in the broadcast studio at Gunderson High School in San Jose, where students are learning about cutting-edge media. We'll talk with them about what makes Gunderson unique, and we'll also talk with Delorme McKee-Stovall from the Network for a Hate-Free Community, because Gunderson is very diverse, and students say they all get along well. But one of the outstanding things about this high school campus is its broadcast studio. And joining me is technology specialist Cliff Hurlf. Mr. Hurlf, thank you. Glad to be here. And this is really your baby.
Yes.
You helped wire the studio, put all of this together?
Yeah, I actually helped design the entire thing. We started this project 5 years ago when I still had hair. And we've been building on it ever since. We've had problems along the way. We've had to make changes, but yeah, we're finally finished, and this is our first real project in here.
Wow, well, we're excited to be a part of that project. Also, Gunderson is a laptop school, so how many laptops does that mean for you?
Well, again, when I started here, we had 4 computers on campus. We now have about 1,200. So we have enough computers to issue almost every student on our campus an individual laptop. With financing getting tougher, it's getting tougher to replace those, but you know, it started with everyone.
Yes, and can you talk about the importance of the vision? Obviously, media is everywhere. We all respond to it in different ways. How does this help the students prepare for what they'll face in the future?
Well, I think technology should be the backbone of educational reform. I think there's so much there. You know, we still teach the way we did 100 years ago. You know, we've gone from the chalkboard slate to the chalkboard to the whiteboard. Now we have electronic whiteboards, but essentially it's the same thing. What we have now is the ability to really change the way education is provided to our students. You know, answers to questions are, you know, seconds away using a computer. So we don't have to teach that rote memorization anymore. But the tough part is changing that paradigm with teachers. They still like to teach the way they learned, and it's hard for them to switch over.
Yes, I have to admit, coming to school and seeing the way it's done now is a whole new world. But I appreciate the invitation in, and we're going to take a look at what some of the students had to say about the technology here at Gunderson.
The technological advances at Gunderson are a good thing because they increase accessibility of information for the students as well as the teachers, and overall they present like a practice in the real world for what technology provides for individuals.
The technology advances is a good thing because students will have a jump on other students, because most students in other schools won't have a chance to work with some of the technology that we have here.
I believe the technological advances gives everyone a chance at Gunderson to know how to use a computer, and especially with how dominated the world is by computers now, you have to have the ability to work on Windows and Mac. You have to be able to work on everything.
You get information a lot quicker. It makes research for projects easier.
It's a big help for students who never maybe used a computer or some like cameras and stuff, so that's a big help.
Like with Facebook, it's a lot better to like try and communicate with teachers, with other students about assignments. It's good for like note-taking. Like last year in my AP US history class, a lot of the students would take the notes in the class and they would take them on their computers and then post them to Facebook for any students that weren't able to get the notes.
Drawbacks, I would definitely say that some drawbacks are just irresponsibility of students. I mean, sometimes they take for granted what they have at our school, and so they slack off a little bit, or they would do something they're not supposed to be doing in class, and then they hide it because they just close the window. But overall, I think it's students are pretty appreciative of what we have here.
Just one time, it was a while ago, my computer crashed, but luckily I was able to put on the server a little before that, so I didn't really have to start back from too far from where I was.
No, I mean, I would actually say it would do the total opposite. Like, it makes me stay on top of my homework all the time.
I'm really into like computers and all that, and I get a chance to do it at school as well as I do at home, so it's fun to do different projects and stuff that work with technology and incorporate in our everyday lives and stuff.
Okay, so I'm telling my age. We never had laptops when I was in high school, but that's just one of the things that makes Gunderson High School unique. Of course, the student body is the other. I have two students with me now, Michael Greeno and Caitlin Scheich. Welcome to you, or I should say thank you for welcoming me.
Thank you.
Glad to be here. When we talk about what stands out for you as unique experiences in high school, Michael, how does yours compare to those of your friends at other schools?
I think the thing that stands out most is that there's a very unique interaction between the students and the teachers, and that students will actually go into teachers' classrooms during lunch to hang out and get to know the teachers, and it builds a very strong relationship between the two.
And Caitlin, for you?
Like Michael said, we have really great relationships with our teachers, but not only that is the student body, our peers, we all get along really well. We're like a big family, and it's great. I like it.
What do you think contributes to that sense of community among all of the students? Because it is unusual to hear about. A lot of times at high schools you hear about cliques and things like that.
Everyone pretty much gets along, and I have to say I don't know what started that, but I do know that it's great, and we all get along really well. And there's no cliques, really, which everyone thinks is kind of weird, but we don't have any. Everyone blends really well.
And Michael, you're nodding. You agree with that as well? Yes. Well, you mentioned how both the teachers and the students get along well, and I know that during tough times you both have found that you could go to teachers. Caitlin, you had an experience that I'd like to have you share.
At the beginning of this year, I started this year on a bad note with grades, and a lot of stuff was happening in my life that it was a hard time. And I was called into the assistant principal's office, and her name is Miss Harding, and she was trying to figure out what had happened and why my grades had dipped. I was always an honor roll student, and it was just, I was taking a turn. It wasn't good. And so we had talked and had a heart-to-heart, and we figured out how to get back on track for me, and she helped me a lot and just kind of gave me this "I believe in you" speech. And I came out of the office in tears because she believed in me so much. She'd call me into her office and sit down and talk with me, and it was a long conversation, and it was
That's wonderful.
It's unique.
And it makes such a difference. And Michael, you've also had people who have made a difference for you here at Gunderson.
In my sophomore year, I didn't really enjoy going to school, and I thought school was boring, and I didn't really want to be here every day. But it was my teacher, my English teacher, she really reached out to me and showed concern. And during my junior year, I started getting involved with leadership and sports and clubs, and it really did make a difference.
Yes, and one of the things you're also involved with is robotics. For people who don't know, what do you do in robotics, and why does that fascinate you so much?
Well, for robotics, we have 2 months, it's about 6 weeks to 8 weeks to build a robot, a complete robot from the ground up. And we compete in March in a competition. And it really does show you like what engineers do in technology and project management. It's a very great experience.
That's great. And that's something that you'd like to pursue in the future in a way through electrical engineering?
Yes, I want to do electrical engineering and computer science.
Yes. And Caitlin, you're a junior president. What do you hope to do in the future?
Well, I'm junior president. I'm highly involved in leadership. I like helping others. I like planning events. It's something I'm really good at. I've learned. I really like to write, though, also. I would love to go into journalism and write for a newspaper. Hopefully, write for a newspaper, but...
Hopefully there'll be newspapers in a few years still, yes. And television, yes,
yes,
we're looking forward to that. If not, you'll write for the net, right?
Right.
Absolutely. So, a lot of students may be watching this and they'll say, well, it sounds like utopia, and we know not everything's perfect, but what would you say to encourage a student who might be having a hard time connecting in school, whether they're here or somewhere else? And I'll ask both of you, because you can speak to your peers in a way that obviously I can't, but what would you say, Michael, to encourage someone who's feeling like maybe you were in sophomore year?